Okay, this is a bonus video where I try to explain what case is. And this is going to be about some specific facts about linguistic syntax. This is not material that you need to master in order to pass the class or anything like that. It's specifically because when I give the demo of how I did my assignment, those papers are going to be about case systems, and so I thought it would be useful to have some background about what case is and what kind of a system it is. So I'm going to explain this here. Also, if you're interested in linguistics, it might just be interesting to learn a little bit about case systems. For those of you who speak German or Russian in particular, I know we have speakers of both of those in our class, it's likely that you already know what case is. In which case you might not need to watch this video, but it's probably going to be short and maybe it'll be interesting. I'm going to be using Russian examples in here because I really speak incredibly little German and I don't really know the specific forms of any of the cases in German, whereas I know a little bit in Russian, which is not to guarantee that I won't make any mistakes. I probably will, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. And yeah, so what is case? Well, fundamentally, case refers to a certain way that nouns change their form based on their position in syntax, or sometimes on the kinds of meanings that they're associated with in a language. So let me illustrate this first with a language that doesn't really have case distinctions anymore, namely English. And Spanish is going to be almost the same here with regard to this demonstration. So in English, if I want to say that a certain noun, is on the table, this word's going to have a form, and if I want to say I read a certain noun, we're going to put the noun in there. And if I want to say I rested, a glass of water on a certain noun, we're going to get something here, or that I swatted a fly with a certain noun, then we're going to put the word here. Observation in English, this is a normal noun, let's say it's book, right? It's going to be pronounced the same in every single one of these contexts. The book is on the table. I read the book. I rested a glass on the book. And I swatted a fly with the book. So it's always going to be book in all four contexts here. The same is very much true in Spanish, except it's going to be something like libro. And most of the other languages spoken in this class are probably going to pattern much like this. Interestingly, this works not the same way at all in Russian and German. So I'm going to use the Russian example. In this sentence, the word book is going to be pronounced kniga. Kniga is on the table, but in this sentence, it's going to be knigu. Different form. I think in this context it's going to be knige. Could be wrong here, but that's my recollection. Knige. And then here it's going to be knigoi. Knigum? Knigoi. I don't remember. I think it's knigum. Well, I think it's knigoi. I might have the actual form wrong. There's a good reason for that. It's because English does not have a case system, and this is incredibly hard for foreign language learners to learn if they don't have case in their own language. Now, in Romance languages and English, there is one place in the language where there's some vestiges of a historic case system left over. So Latin certainly had case, although modern Romance languages have basically lost it. And old Proto-Germanic, that English comes from, also had case, although modern English has almost entirely lost it. The only place it still survives is in the most frequent words in the language that get repeated more often than any other nouns, namely pronouns. So in English, I am on the table, but you saw me, not you saw I. And so this is one of the few places in the language where you do get case distinctions. I, me, my, he, him, she, her. These are arguably case distinctions in English, but it really only survives in the determiner system and only very narrowly in pronouns. In Russian and German, every single noun in the language is going to decline for structural case. Now, what's the difference here? Some of these have to do with the broader syntactic contexts. So basically, anything that's in a particular structural relationship to a verb which takes it as an argument, in this case, read, is going to receive this kind of case. It has to do with the structural configuration of a verb and its internal argument in syntactic terms. This subject position is an external argument that isn't said to be marked with features by any particular verb in the sentence, and therefore it takes a different kind of case. Now, traditionally, the labels here are nominative and accusative. Not clear that those have any real status in linguistic terms. They're just describing particular configurations in the syntax. This particular case in Russian is, I think, anything that's a complement, a syntactic complement to a preposition. And this one is the instrumental case, which combines elements of syntax with elements of meaning as well. So it's anything that can be interpreted as an instrument used to accomplish some purpose. And especially if it occurs with the preposition with in Russian, it's often going to take this instrumental case. So in English and Spanish, we have case only on prepositions, on pronouns, and how many there are is going to kind of depend on what you consider to be a case, but there's going to be 2 or 3 cases on pronouns only. In Russian, there's 6 cases and a marginal 7th, and they appear on every single noun in the language, as well as everything inside a noun phrase. So you also decline adjectives and determiners for case in Russian, and the way it works is quite different for different genders. This particular word happens to be singular and feminine, but if I'd picked a singular masculine word, the case system would look very different, and if I'd picked a plural feminine word, it would also look very different, right? So it's extremely complex in Russian. German is not quite the same number and complexity of case systems. So I think there are 3 and maybe 4 cases in German, and it declines determiners and nouns, but maybe not adjectives. I could be wrong about that. In any case, there's going to be a little bit less case in German than there is in Russian, but both of these systems are going to pose considerable difficulties for a foreign language learner whose native language is English or Spanish or another language that doesn't even really have case. You can imagine this is going to be a hard thing to learn for those learners. That's what my homework assignment is about. I picked 2 papers about how foreign language learners acquire case systems, and they mostly deal with German and Russian.